Christianity, Islam, and Judaism are presented as completely different religions worshiping different gods. But here's the truth. Religious authorities don't want you to know. All three religions worship the exact same biblical God of Abraham. This isn't opinion, it's historical fact that changes everything about how we understand these faiths. The evidence is overwhelming, the connections are undeniable, and the reasons for hiding this truth reveal more about religious politics than actual theology. All three religions trace their origins directly to Abraham and his God around 2000 BCE. Judaism developed from Abraham's covenant through Isaac and Jacob. Christianity emerged from Judaism 2,000 years later, worshiping the same God of Abraham while recognizing Jesus as the Messiah. Islam arose 600 years after Christianity, explicitly tracing back to the same God of Abraham, Moses, and Jesus. These aren't three separate religious traditions. They're three interpretations of the same Abrahamic foundation. The Hebrew Bible, Christian Old Testament, and Islamic Quran all trace back to the same God of Abraham, telling the same foundational stories: creation, Adam and Eve, Noah's flood, Abraham's covenant, Moses, and the Exodus. Same God, same stories, same divine source. The term Abrahamic religions exists precisely because they worship the same God of Abraham through the same foundational covenant. This isn't theological opinion, it's documented historical fact. The connections go far beyond origins. All three religions believe in the same God of Abraham, one eternal, all-powerful creator of the universe. They share identical moral teachings. The Ten Commandments appear in Judaism and Christianity, while Islam includes 9 of the 10 Commandments with nearly identical wording. Jesus is mentioned 25 times by name in the Quran and revered as one of Islam's most important prophets. Muslims believe in his virgin birth, his miracles, and his eventual return. The Quran mentions Jesus and Mary more frequently than many books of the New Testament. Moses is equally revered across all three faiths. Judaism sees him as the greatest prophet, Christianity recognizes him as the lawgiver, and Islam honors him as one of the most important messengers. The story of Moses receiving the commandments from the God of Abraham appears in all three holy books. All three religions practice similar forms of worship: daily prayer, charity, fasting, pilgrimage, and moral behavior. The Golden Rule appears in all three traditions with nearly identical wording. The word Allah literally means God in Arabic. It's not a different deity's name. Arab Christians use Allah when referring to the biblical God in their prayers and Bible translations. The word comes from the same Semitic root as the Hebrew Elohim and Aramaic Allah, the language Jesus spoke. When Arabic-speaking Christians pray the Lord's Prayer, they say, "Our Father, Allah, who art in heaven." Christian and Jewish scholars who speak Arabic use Allah when discussing the God of Abraham in academic contexts. The linguistic evidence proves these are different names for the same God of Abraham. The confusion exists only among English speakers who don't realize Allah is simply the Arabic word for the God of Abraham, equivalent to calling God Dieu in French or Dios in Spanish. Same God of Abraham, different language. If the evidence is so clear, why do religious authorities resist acknowledging these connections? The answer is politics, not theology. Centuries of conflict, the Crusades, colonialism, modern Middle East wars, created cultural divisions that obscured obvious religious commonalities. Religious institutions have institutional reasons to emphasize differences, maintaining distinct identities, preserving political power, and justifying centuries of conflict. Admitting they worship the same biblical God undermines claims of religious superiority and exclusivity. But theological scholars across all three faiths increasingly acknowledge the fundamental unity while respecting doctrinal differences about practices, prophets, and interpretations. The Vatican, Jewish rabbis, and Islamic scholars regularly meet to discuss their shared worship of the same God of Abraham. The resistance comes from politics and power, not from the actual theological evidence, which overwhelmingly points to the same biblical source. Christianity, Islam, and Judaism worship the same God of Abraham. This is historical fact, not opinion. Understanding this doesn't eliminate their differences about prophets, practices, and interpretations. But it reveals that centuries of conflict have been about politics, culture, and power rather than fundamental theological differences. 3 billion people across the world are praying to the same God of Abraham, even when they do so in different languages, traditions, and interpretations. The shared foundation is undeniable when you examine the actual evidence instead of institutional politics. If these cold, hard facts about the shared Abrahamic origins of these religions surprised you, hit subscribe for more videos that cut through institutional politics to reveal the actual historical truths about faith, history, and culture.